Here's Kyle from Lowell. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good. So I know it's been Curtis's life mission to get Joe Mazzulla fired since it was his lead. He's gonna lose his job in 2 weeks. 2 days later, he gets
he's doing
fired.
a great job, Kyle.
But,
Kick ass.
I think Wiggy hit the nail on the head. It's more about the roster building. I mean, regardless of who the coach was, if you think we're going to just blow by Milwaukee this year, after it took us 7 to scrape by without Middleton last year, you're smoking crack.
Well,
And
Kyle,
then
how
in
about
the
Kyle?
offseason-
Kyle, how about giving up 40 points, losing over the final 2.5 quarters by 40 points at home to the Nets, losing in double overtime to the Knicks, giving up a 19-point lead to the Jazz? These teams are all less talented than you are, so don't talk about roster building.
Yeah, no, but they really aren't anymore because Bobby doesn't play. Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year from last year, isn't healthy. He's a shell of himself. And you've added nothing since the offseason. And you still don't have a point guard. Like Wiggy said, you
Wait,
have
the Jazz and the Knicks are better than
you
the
have
Celtics?
3 two-way two guards, still no point guard. Meanwhile, the Bucks have developed Javon Carter, a strong guard, point guard, brought in Joe Ingles, more height. And what did we do? Bring in Danilo Gallinari?
But what? The Jazz and the Knicks and the Nets are better than the Celtics?
You're talking about teams that are going to be irrelevant. We're going to end up meeting the Bucks in the playoffs.
Right, and home
you're
court
so
was
worried
just
about-
decided likely because you lost to those teams in games you should have won.
The Knicks are pretty good, though. they're
They
playing,
own the Celtics.
yeah, they're
season,
playing
that's
pretty
for sure.
good. And to Kyle's point, they have a true point guard and Jalen Brunson.
And
Yeah.
they have bigs.
Yeah, that's
I mean, to finish the season last year in the series against Milwaukee and to think that you're just going to, as Wiggy says, run it back with the same crew, it's asinine. Like, you don't go out and look for a big. You don't try to draft a real point guard. You think you're going to win it. You think you're going to win it all with 3 two guards? That's why we can't close games, Curtis, basketball guy. You are a freaking manager. Stop acting like you know anything. You can't close games because you got 3 two guards and not a point guard out there.
So they should have lost to the Jazz with a 19-point lead, and they couldn't have used Grant Williams late in that game.
You know why you can't close games? Because you don't have a point guard. Like Wiggy has been trying to say to you guys, we have 3 two guards. Derek White,
So that was right.
Brogdon,
They should have blown a
and
19-point
Smart.
lead. That was what that was their best effort.
I don't know. You tell me why having the best player in the NBA doesn't win you a championship with Jason Tatum right now, because he doesn't have a point guard to help him out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like Wiggy said, Jordan couldn't do it without a real point guard, and Pippen. They need help.
Yeah, I've been on the point guard issue. I wanted them to go out and get, and I know that he was hurt, but I wanted them to go out and get Lonzo Ball, like a true point guard.
Yeah.
Like, they need that type of guy.
Great call, by the way, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle,
Great.
where did you play? Just out of curiosity.
Division One.
Oh, well, we're in Division
D1.
One. That's kind of a big umbrella there.
I don't need to boost my own ego. Like you
Well,
do
if you're
with
going to
Mr.
call out
Manager.
my resume, I think it'd be
Anytime-
good to know yours.
I mean, Curtis, anytime you want to meet up and play one-on-one for
Okay.
I'm into it.
Oh,
I
I would
haven't
love to see
I haven't
it.
missed a shot in
You'll
5
end up
years.
with you crying.
I would love to see it.
I really think
You've never played against a real Division One athlete. You just got their water bottles.
Yuka Agbai and I played one-on-one daily, and he beat me, but I
how
would
did it end up
rebound well.
you crying to your dad?
How did I
Listen,
clown
you know what
my
happens?
dad?
The managers end up suing Division One players because they get bullied. I've been in the locker room. It happens all the time. So let's meet up and play. We could do it for the Twitch stream. It'll be the best content you guys ever had.
I love this.
Kyle, but
Kyle,
the difference
I will-
is that
I-
you listen to my opinion daily, and I'm an idiot
I don't
according
listen to you. I listen to Wiggy and,
Oh,
and
Wiggy,
Greg
there we go.
and
Okay,
even
okay.
Courtney. I mean, geez, nobody's listening to you. The only
Where did
thing
you
you've
play
done
Division
is
One,
that you
Kyle?
come
Let the
back
world
from Florida-
know. Where did you play?
Hey, Curtis, the most amazing thing you've done
Where
is since you've come
did
back
you
from Florida,
play?
you are now somehow the darkest man on the show with a tan. It's amazing.
Okay. Where did you
I
play?
will say, Kyle, Curtis started when his dad was coaching. So I don't know.
Listen,
I don't know.
I'm not going to say where I played because, Curtis, we could just meet up and you'll find out, buddy.
Oh, I like
okay.
this.
I like
For
it
the
when
Great
you say
Hill
buddy.
Foundation.
That always feels endearing.
Street ball.
Take on Curtis
I'm now
101.
searching. I gotta find where Kyle went to school. I am Googling. I like Kyle. I think he's a good caller. He calls in a lot. I now need to know everything
is
about
what-
him.
Could you imagine if I went on a rant about how I was a D1 player and I never was actually able to say where I played, the amount of mocking I would take?
This is like King of the Court with Curtis. You know how we had the Blue Collar Friday?
Yeah.
Now it's
King of the Court.
Sports with Curtis.
One-
Pick up ball with Curtis.
One day I took Jermaine Watson to Pino's, and it was electric.
See, the issue is if you look at the Celtics since the All-Star break and you want to pin it on, there's 3 choices: Joe Mazzulla, the players, Or I guess Kyle is making the case for Brad Stevens not doing anything trade deadline time or roster building prior to the season.
That's what I said.
Curtis says it's Joe Mazzulla. I think it's the players. I mean, you have you're blowing a 19-point lead.
Mm-hmm. No, they don't have the talent to beat the Jazz with a 19-point lead.
You have the talent to get the lead. You just can't hang on to the lead.
Something that would tell me coaching's in play. I don't know.
Yeah, that I would agree. I would agree with Curtis on that one. If you're blowing a 19-point lead, your coaching's got to be the issue.
What Perk said. There's no discipline.
And by the way,
respect
Wiggy,
the coach.
To be fair, we all credited Mazzulla for that phenomenal end-of-game 3-point diagram play to Tatum. Mm-hmm. Remember that a couple weeks ago? I think it was a Saturday night. That was great. We all gave him credit. So you give him credit and you criticize him when he's unable to maintain these types of leads. And it's not once, not twice. It's 3 to 4 times since the start of the second half.
And this is why I said, if you don't believe the Celtics are going back to the NBA Finals, Wick has a very, very difficult question to ask himself out after the season. What am I doing with this team? Because
do you think they're going to the finals when you look at this team right now?
No, I don't think so.
They're going in the wrong direction.
Right, I don't think so. And now if you have Jaylen Brown, who is kind of a little bit of like not really sure if he wants to play in Boston because of all the other things. And I get athletes want to be able to expand their brand, and he might want to do it in a place where he can really do that as a black athlete. That is the issue. Then if you have Wick to look and go, okay, well, maybe Mazzulla isn't the guy. And then if you're saying to Tatum, when we heard Tatum say this about, I can't remember, you played this audio, about how much he really loved Ime and what he meant to the team. If you are Wick, you have to be thinking to yourself, how do I get us back there? And do I maybe have to pick up the phone and bring back Ime, similar to a Core and Red Sox situation?
Yeah.
I think that's a real thing, man. I think the Ime thing will be in play after the season. I know
Mazzulla, you're going to get a call.
I know that you're kind of like, people will be upset, but if they get bounced, I don't think people are going to care. I think people will be happy that he's back.
It's a workplace thing. I just don't see how they could do it. I haven't heard that, she got fired. She could still be working there for all we know.
Yeah.
You can't reintroduce that situation. And again, I'm not saying right or wrong, because I understand that
it's just
people
reality.
That is the reality of the situation. It is 2023. They can't do that.
I think it would be a sit down and like, here's how we have to settle this. If she is really that upset about it, maybe they give her money or whatever. Because what's more important? You as an owner maybe having to deal with a little bit of backlash from the workplace stuff, or you have to...
It's not a little bit of backlash. I think it's I don't know, but what we heard was it's nearly every woman who works for the organization
but
has an issue with it.
But I'm saying the backlash that you might have to deal with in-house versus the loud screams of your fan base.
Yeah.
If you're Wick, which one do you want to deal with more?
So you think that this team would not be blowing these leads if Ime was here?
No. I think this team would be a legitimate contender. They wouldn't be. Last year, and I gave you this stat, after the All-Star break with Ime, they only lost 5 games. They've already surpassed that.
Yeah.
So I don't think this team would be playing the way that they're playing. And the biggest issue,
started off hotter, though, than
right,
the
they
team
did. But the
Ime.
biggest issue that they have this year versus last year is their defense. Now, granted, part of it is Rob Williams, and I think Marcus Smart having some dealing with some injuries. But it's also about buying in, and I think they buy into Ime.